Good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to take a look at the next 7 days. There were some rumors going around earlier this week and even up until yesterday of a snowstorm not only hitting the coastal areas but also sneaking into central Pennsylvania Friday and Saturday. And that's just not the case. A couple of sources that put out snowfall maps and whatnot, they were just basing off one or two runs that occurred earlier this week and kind of just followed what models were showing at the time rather than let's just put it this way, they kind of jumped the gun on it. I mean, the pattern right now doesn't support any type of coastal storm, and anything that does come up the coast will remain out to sea. Looking at the latest runs, the models have corrected to the actual pattern that we're in. And here, looking at the GFS here, taking it forward, today will be a dry day, much like yesterday. It's going to be cold, temperatures in the 30s and 40s. But Friday and Saturday was the time frame for this possible event. And taking it forward here to early Saturday morning, this storm is well out to sea. Here's the low pressure here. Now, if you have any travel plans to, say, southern Maryland or maybe even southern Delaware, perhaps as far north as southern New Jersey, I wouldn't be surprised to see some snowflakes mixed in with maybe some rain here early Saturday morning. I'm really not too enthusiastic about some snowfall accumulations for this area. Temperatures are going to be pretty borderline. They'll probably be in the mid-30s. Unless it can occur during the nighttime, I really don't see much in the way of accumulation. Now, some models and some sources down in the southeast, like Atlanta, Georgia, back in Alabama, some models do print out several inches of snow for these areas, which would be pretty significant. More than likely, it would shut down cities just because of the resources that they don't have. But that's what a model says, and it goes by a 10-to-1 ratio, and everything would have to go perfectly for those accumulations to happen. And considering we're still early in December and it's down that far south, I really don't see those areas getting much in the way of accumulation. Maybe in the mountain areas, an inch or two, which is still pretty decent for those areas, especially this early in the season. Considering, central Pennsylvania really hasn't, and pretty much all of Pennsylvania hasn't had much snow this year, up until this point. Now that's a good question, when we're going to see snowfall next, and if I see anything out in the future. Right now, in the near term, no, but I am interested in early to mid next week, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. There could be a system that is dropping out of Canada that'll form mainly as a clipper, but I'm interested in the clipper arriving once it gets to around Ohio. There could be some redevelopment off the coast, and depending where that redevelops, could definitely dictate what kind of snowfall, if we get any, occurs Tuesday and Wednesday. Now let's take the GFS here out to that time frame. So this is Monday here, Monday night, Tuesday. This is early Tuesday morning. So, depending on what model you look at, some suggest it comes in early Tuesday, some suggest it comes later Tuesday and Wednesday. So, I'm just going to call it Tuesday, Wednesday time frame right now. But you have a pretty strong clipper system out in eastern Ohio right here. And earlier yesterday, some models, including the GFS, suggested this would be further south and redevelop somewhere off the Delmarva and throw back plenty of precipitation over our area, leading to a decent snowfall event. Now, even then, it was still like a 2 to 5 inch snowfall, nothing crazy. Then the latest runs kind of backed off that idea. It was mainly just like a coating to not even anything, maybe some flurries. However, the latest runs here during the overnight of December 7th, both the GFS and European model have taken steps into that back into that 2 to 5 inch snowfall scenario. Now we're not quite there yet, but I do like the pattern next week. There's going to be a pretty strong ridge out in our western United States, and trough in the east, which will create plenty of cold air for snowfall. So even though we have this low pressure out in western Ohio, which usually puts us on the warmer side of things, it will still be snow just because it's going to be so cold. I mean, we're going to have highs struggling to reach mid-30s next week. And of course, lows will be in the probably in the 20s. Nothing too crazy with low temperatures yet. Now we take this forward here, and once this particular run, once it reaches the mountains in central Pennsylvania, the snow kind of dies out, which is possible, especially if the low. It's kind of in the middle of transferring here, so whenever that transfer takes place, there usually is some type of dry slot, so that I could easily see that happening. Now, of course, you know, not exactly like this. We're still 5 days away, so lots going to change here. But we'll take this out further, and the low pressure still hasn't fully transferred to the coast. But once we take it out one more frame, now we have a 993 millibar low pressure here, right off of Long Island, and this is throwing a lot of precipitation into New York, upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, of course, Maine. If we take this low pressure, and then now we still have 5 days to track this. If this low pressure can develop just 100, 200 miles down further south, we would be talking about at least our first widespread accumulating snowfall. You know, that 2 to 5 inch snow that I was talking about. Now, if we can get this, and this is still possible. It's not looking like it's not likely at this point, but it's still possible since it's 5 days away. If we can get this same low pressure to transfer the coast, but down towards Virginia Beach, now that's where we're talking about our big snows, and you know, your 6 to 12 inch snowfall possible. But it's nothing shows that right now. That's just me talking of a possible situation. That'd be your best case scenario for snow lovers. But right now, as it stands, if you're going to hug the models do suggest just something that redevelops too late for us and gives us a light snowfall, no more than a coating at best. However, the latest runs has slightly trended towards that 2 to 5 inch snowfall if we can get it. This low pressure just needs to transfer further south. But that's yet to be seen. I mean, we still have 5 days to track this. There's gonna be a lot of changes. 5 days ago, the same low pressure, here that was going to arrive Friday into Saturday. 5 days ago, the precipitation extended all the way back into our area. So this just goes to show you how much can change in 5 days. But I'll definitely be keeping an eye on this and keeping you guys updated. This is actually my first real potential that I'm actually excited about, that I think we could see our first accumulating snowfall. It's definitely our first real threat. This weekend I do not see anything. We might get some flurries over Saturday night and the Sunday morning. Nothing that will accumulate though. Alright guys, I'll keep you updated, and just stay tuned.